Gorakshakar, founder and head research at Avinash Mentor Research Services. Also Kush Bora in the studio. But Avinash, let me come back to you very quickly on firstly the HUL numbers seem to be a beat in terms of margins. Is that your assessment, and what do you make of the volume growth?
No, I think Puneet, volume growth has been pretty decent at around 6%, and margins definitely have shown a good uptick. I think that's a good positive surprise from Lever because a 7-8% top line growth is not something great. I think the margins was more important, and that is something the markets are happy about. My sense is, markets would obviously like to know that whether this volume growth is going to be sustained because typically, after the monsoon forecast, there were expectations that possibly the forthcoming quarter is going to be another challenging quarter. So I think most importantly will be the outlook and the kind of growth, outlook which the company will share with its investors. But net structurally, this result is good. I think the stock will remain in the bus today, but I think going forward, any re-rating will entirely depend on whether this volume growth is going to be sustainable and this margin improvement is going to happen. Because if at all volume growth gets impacted by the poor monsoon, then I think it could possibly face a challenging period in the coming 1 or 2 quarters.
Okay. First question that we have now is from Navendu Sharma. He's holding shares of Kalyan Jewellers, bought at 418, and asking what are some of the key prospects that you could highlight for the long term. Now, Avinash, Q4 update was quite strong. Results we are still awaiting, but what your view of what Navendu should do at this point of time?
I think, unless the investor has got a time frame of at least next 12 to 15 months, in the short term, the markets are volatile. We have seen gold prices also easing off. But I think demand on ground continues to be very strong. And I think the April to June quarter is going to be equally good in terms of festival and marriages. So I think, gold jewelry business as a whole is going to grow well. So my sense is unless he can hold on for the next, say, 12 to 15 months, in the short term, of course, the results would do the kind of small re-rating on the stock. But medium-term prospects appear to be quite positive. So I think stay invested. If he has got some surplus money, he could even average the stock. But my sense is this is definitely a growing business and would definitely yield reasonably good risk rewards in the medium to long term.
Right, the next query is coming in from Kumar, and it's on SJS Enterprises. He wants to know whether should he buy this counter for the next 1 year. Avinash, any view on SJS Enterprises?
Well, I think, Amit, this is a stock which is operating in the auto component space, has a very unique product offering. So I think, at these levels, my sense is, the stock appears to be fairly valued. Unless the investor has got a 2-year kind of time frame, I would not be surprised that in the short term, the stock has possibly, risen to its fullest potential. Maybe if he wants to buy, he could still think of buying in, in small pieces. He could try an SIP approach and then stay invested here.
Avinash, just a quick view, if I can, on Bajaj Auto. Do you think that it's a good step right now for the board to look at because you've seen, of course, that valuation differential with other peers?
No, I think clearly, buyback is positive for the company as well as for the markets because that actually improves the ROE and the earnings growth for the company. And I think Bajaj Auto has got a lot of surplus cash which it can use for its buyback. But again, Puneet, what kind of size of the buyback is this and what is the kind of price they are looking at is something would determine the trend in the stock in the short term. So I think, it's good, positive news flow. We'll have to wait for the finer details to come in. But definitely, I think in terms of valuation, I think, we need to see very strong numbers from Bajaj Auto if one were to really give it a direct one-to-one comparison with TVS Motors. TVS Motors has been growing very rapidly in terms of volume, in terms of margins. So to that, it will take some time for Bajaj Auto to catch up. But this buyback news flow is definitely good in the short term. We'll have to wait for the finer details to come.
Okay, let's go across. Take the next question from Arvind, who's a regular viewer on CSC. Now, Avinash, his question largely being a 1 to 2 year view on the stock. We've also seen the election. So his question also is that could we expect a price hike probably post-election? What would be your view?
I think we should continue to hold. I think whether the price hike comes or not, I think we'll have to wait. But I think definitely, if we can give in a little more time, maybe the next 2 to 3 quarters, I think definitely it could be a good decision to hold on. Obviously, numbers could get better once the price hike comes. So I think we'll like to wait and watch. But yes, PSC definitely is a stock where I think a lot of value could crystallize over the next, say, 12 to 15 months.
The one from Jerry Lobo from Pune, who's asking if it's a good time to enter this stock. Now, Avinash, of course, we know the ratios for the 5 companies that will be listing, including the existing one. How are you seeing Vedanta? Because there are a couple of entities like the aluminum business which could drive the higher value. Do you feel that investors can get selective with certain ones that they should have in their portfolio? And what's your opinion?
No, I think Puneet, you're right. The aluminum and the oil business will get the premium valuation, and I think the residual company, which I think the value has come today. I think we'll have to wait for some time because today the price discovery has happened. What price the stock will stabilize, we'll have to see. But this will be now an holding company, and typically, I expect that the holding company will get a discount of at least 20%. So to that extent, the holding company will have businesses like copper and zinc in it, which is not included in the 5 separately demerged entities. So aluminum and oil, and of course, if somebody were to buy the holding company, then be prepared for a holding company discount. But yes, long-term prospects for both copper and zinc appear to be quite good. So, from a longer-term perspective, I think one can definitely add this, but you'll have to keep a slightly medium-term kind of time frame.